1968 International Harvester 2504A Industrial Series tractor. Funny thing, that's a 1968 Model 2. It's a 58 horse tractor. I think it was my dad had actually originally got the tractor in 1980 something, and him and my uncle had went in halves on it to clear the route to get back to their house where they originally put their property in, or had their property, and built everything the way they wanted, roads and dirt pads and just stuff like that. And yeah, I can't remember exactly. I think in 1990, probably about 3 or 4 years after, my dad had bought out my uncle on the tractor because dad used it more, and you know how partnership with certain things, it can cause trouble where there shouldn't be no trouble. But anyway, so I mean, that's full filter, standard. Probably the original hydraulic hose if you can't tell. This is an odd way to put a PTO in, modern day times talking. So right now the PTO is disengaged. To engage it, you take that fancy piece of 9 wire, lift it up, and you hook it onto this other fancy piece of 9 wire at the bottom. And that's how you engage the PTO of the tractor for bush hogging, or let's see, PTO generator, stump grinder, whatever PTO activity you got going on. Obviously, 5 on the floor, manual. I don't really understand why you would have an automatic tractor. My dad built the cage. I think he kind of just had some of this scrap metal laying around. I mean, it's kind of impressive. Like nowadays, nobody has scrap metal like this laying around their house. Just up and out the blue, build something like that. Front tires probably original. They're pretty worn out. Or I say they're worn out. They don't leak or nothing, but you can see the splits in them. I don't remember if they have tubes in them or not. So the injector pump leaks a little bit, as it's dripping at the moment when it's off. Funny thing about the dipstick right here. So you know how dipsticks are normally easy to pull in and out to check oil as they should be. Well, Dad was bush hogging one day, and he got too close and something grabbed the dipstick, pulled it out. He finished bush hogging the rest of the day, didn't notice it was gone. Well, he needed to he needed to have a dipstick, obviously, for obvious reasons. And well, anyway, he did an oil change on the tractor because he knew how much oil the tractor took. And then he built the dipstick, because he's a machinist, he has his own machine shop. And he built the dipstick to accommodate for that, and even added the extra line. So he put it to the full 7 quarts that the tractor takes, made his first line, and next time he did an oil change, he only put 6 quarts in it. And then he made another line. That way, if you're at the second line down, you're a quart low. I just think it's funny. And it's got like I don't know what you would probably call it, a drain plug for a boat, how you tighten it and you can't pull it out. It's got the same concept. So now it can't be pulled out. Battery, piece of crap, is about to go out. I'm about to have to replace it again. You just can't keep batteries. They don't make them like they used to. So none of the gauges work except for the aftermarket oil pressure gauge and the coolant gauge right here. That's the only 2 gauges that work on this thing. Fuel gauge, hour meter. My dad told me when he bought the tractor in the 80s, he said the hour gauge didn't even work at that time. And the tractor's got it says 2,700 hours, and my dad's owned it since the 80s. And it's been at our hunting lease for years and years and years. I wouldn't doubt that this thing's got 10,000 hours. Now I will say he did rebuild the engine, 1995. It's kind of due for another overhaul. It's not detrimental yet, but she does burn a little bit of oil. And so most modern tractors have a foot pedal, which is awesome. Don't get me wrong, I love it. I wish I had one, but we stuck here with a manual throttle, which if you gotta have a tractor, I mean, you can only be so picky, right? For when you come across a deal like this. So I added the baskets up there. So in the ammo can, I got a couple of necessity tools of everything that I know that the tractor, just to be able to get me out the woods if I get in a bind. Starting fluid, yeah, glow plugs are probably original from '68. Dad didn't replace them on the engine rebuild. They will not fire you off on a cold morning or ambient temperature mornings, so she requires a little sniff. And then that's my 2 little ice chests there for other situations. And then my pawpaw, God rest him, such a nice guy. He used to love making successful things out of a milk crate. Anything that it could be made out of a milk crate that he could use on a 4-wheeler, tractor, truck, you name it, he did it. Well, I kind of ran into a problem a while back. Every time I'm on the tractor, I need a chainsaw. Well, I ain't had nowhere to put my chainsaw. So I took a milk crate that I had laying around the house, and I cut it accordingly with the chainsaw to be able to store my chainsaw with me at all times when I'm cutting. In case something gets in my way, I can go ahead and take care of it. And this right here, since it's an industrial style, I don't know if like the residential came with this option or not. This would be more of my dad of a question. But this is where I could actually potentially hook up a front end loader to this tractor. That's the easiest part. Finding the front end loader for this tractor would be the hardest part in the world. And that right there, there's a hydraulic fluid screen behind there that catches anything pretty much. I mean, I've had to clean it out a couple times throughout the years. And both back tires are filled with tubes, obviously, because there's no way, I'm pretty sure that can even hold air. And got another little hydraulic leak right here. She's due for a rebuild on a lot of the seals that she's got, but I mean, all in all, she gets the job done. And this is a bush hog, 5 foot. I don't even know exactly what brand it is. Found it on Facebook Marketplace for 500 bucks. And I really wanted a 6 foot, but you can't find, I don't know, depends where you're at, I guess, but a 5 foot bush hog for 500 bucks around here is just, it's gold. So I bought a 5 foot bush hog, and I got a 5 foot box blade over there. Bought them from the same guy. You've got to keep a chain on your tractor. If you're operating a tractor at all in South Louisiana and swampland in any way, you have to have a chain. There's no way you can not, because you're gonna get stuck. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. This is actually built, my dad added this. This is hydraulics for when you hook. So you don't have, say you don't have a regular set of discs, you're a fortunate person and you have a set of offset discs, which really get the job done compared to the crap they sell that just floats on top of the ground. And this is actually how you remote operate. There's a handle up there. How you remote operate those offset discs. And not about littering around here, so had to put me a trash can on the ride somehow, way or another. Used to be highway use a lot more than it is today. The reflection tape done came off of it. It's been so long. I was probably bought 90 something when Dad used to travel. I know the tractor might see it, look like it sits a little odd, but my dad, I don't know if you can tell from the camera angle, my dad, he swapped the rims inside out, and instead of them facing the way they would cone inward, they faced cone out, because he always said that it felt very unstable, you know, when you were going through rough terrain. So he had flipped them outside, and which is a good thing because it's more stability, but it's also a bad thing because the only thing you can load this thing on is a gooseneck. They really don't make bumper pulls that are, I think it's like 90 something inches wide. I mean, it's over the standard 82 inch inner fender well of a bumper pull trailer. So I mean, that's one thing that makes it a pain, but it's one thing that gives it more stability. I can only imagine without, to be honest with you, because it rides pretty good now. Oh, let's see, shoot, man. When I bought the bush hog first time I used it, the weld broke right here. So me and Dad welded that back up. Gearbox looks like it's got a leak, but I accidentally overfilled it a couple days ago before I just put 14 hours of ass time on this sucker. Doing some free bush hogging, can I say. My mom needed some bush hogging done, so she got a pretty good chunk of property, so I put about 14 hours in on 2 days over there. And then my little cousin had texted me, and she wanted some bush hogging done by her little greenhouse where she takes a lot of photography pictures and stuff, so I ended up taking that one too. So hopefully enough with the free labor for a little bit. Maybe if I do free labor, it's for myself. But there's a lot more to tell, but I don't know all the stories of this thing. Like I said, it's been in my family since the late 80s. It's a fine piece of equipment. I don't think it's ever let anybody down around here. It's one of the original things of the property, to be honest with you. You can see a couple spots right here where whether it was me or some other operator that uses this thing, got a little too close to a tree and traded some bark. But shoot, that's about it. Ain't nothing special. Gets the job done. Ain't no cabin air though, I can say that. Shit.